Hey guys, welcome to the Creative Arena. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a spinning text animation effect on hover and also on scrolling without the use of any line of CSS code. So at the end of this tutorial, you're going to create something like this. So when you hover, you can have this effect on your text. Okay, and also when you scroll, you can see the text spinning in the direction of your scrolling. And finally, added to this, I'm also going to show you how to make this text rotate infinitely, like what you have here. Okay, so without further delay, let's dive in and get started. In our Elementor editing script, I've already taken the time out to create this structure here for us. This is the structure we're going to add our circular text animation effect on hover, on scrolling, and infinite rotation effect. Okay, so now let's get started with the first effect, which is the animation on hover. So to do so, what we're going to do here, we're going to come over here and search for the text part, and let's drag and drop it right below here. Okay, now by default, the text color is set to black. So let's come over here and change the color to white so we can see precisely what we're doing. Okay, and let's come back to the content. Now for the content, we're going to change the text here to Creative Arena. Okay, and then we're going to add a separator text here. So let's come over to I2 symbols, and then let's copy out this text here. Now I'm going to add the link in the description of this video where you can access this wonderful tool here. There are so many symbols here that you can copy out from. You can see it out here, various symbols, and then you can just copy it out and make use of it on your project. Okay. All right, so now let's come back here to what we are doing, and let's add this star here, and let's copy this out and paste it again. Okay, so we now have that. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to come over to the part type, and then we're going to set it part type to circle. We're going to come over to the alignment and set it to the center. Okay, now that we've done that, the next thing we can do here is when you come over to the text decoration, this is where you set which direction you want your curve or your circular text to take. Is it to the right or to the left? We're just going to leave it at default. Now let's head over to the style and tweak it a little bit. Okay, over here for the size, we're going to reduce the size from 500 to 150 pixels. Okay, now that we've done that, the next thing we can do here is for the rotation, we're going to leave it as is, and then we'll come over to the typography. Now for the typography, the font family, we're going to set it to leave it at default. And then for the font size, we're going to set the font size to 40 pixels. 40 pixels. Okay. Now you can see that we still have a space here. So to fix, in order to cover up this space, what we're going to do here is we're going to come over here to where we have the letter spacing. Now for the letter spacing, we're going to change the unit from pixel to REM, and then we're going to set the value to 0.28. Okay, now we can see we now have a perfect circle here. In your case, depending on the length of the text you're making use of, you can make use of this letter spacing and also the word spacing in order to make sure that you have a perfect circle. You can also make use of the text part word spacing effect here to have the same effect, which is a perfect circle in your case. Okay, so now that we've gotten this perfect circular text here, the next thing is for us to position the text where we want it to be before we add the animation to it. Okay, so now to do so, we're going to come over here, still on the text part, we're going to come over to the advanced settings, and we'll head over to the position and set the position to absolute. Okay, now that we've done that, the next thing we can do here is for the horizontal orientation, we're going to set it to the right. And then for the vertical orientation, for the offset, for the horizontal orientation, we're going to give it an offset value of 90 pixels. And then for the vertical orientation, we're going to set it to the bottom. So we now have this perfectly placed here. Okay, now that we've placed our text, our circular text where we want it to be, now is for us to add our 3 different types of animation to it. Okay, so the first animation we're going to add here is rotating effect on hover. Okay, so to do so, we're going to come over here to the transform effect here, and then we'll go to the hover effect. Now for the rotation, we're going to set the rotation to 100 degrees. And then we're going to come over here. And when you hover, you can see you have this hover effect, but it doesn't look perfect. So to make it perfect, you're going to come down here. First, add the transition duration. You give it a value of 800 milliseconds. First, have that smooth transition. Okay. And then we'll come over to the X anchor point. Make sure you set it to the center. And for the Y anchor point, you do the same. Set it to the center. So now when you're over, you have this perfect rotation effect. Okay, so this is the first effect. Now let's come over here and add our second effect. So let's just undo this and then let's come back here. Now to add our second effect, which is the rotating effect on scroll, we're going to come over to the motion effect, and then scrolling effect, we're going to toggle this to on. I will come over to the rotate, and then for this, we're going to allow it, leave it at direction to the left, and then for the speed, we're going to set the speed to 1.5, and then for the viewport, we're going to leave it the way it is, and then we're going to come over here, make sure that the anchor point is set to the center for the X, and then for the Y as well to the center, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, so now that we've done that and set everything as it's supposed to be, now let's check our rotating effect. In order to do so, we're going to come over here. Let's add a scrolling screen, empty screen, so we can have a scroll screen. So let's just add this here. But in your case, you won't be needing this because you're probably using it on your project, so you have other content on your website. Since we do not have other content, that is why we are making use of this. Okay, so now let's add one at the bottom here as well. Okay, and let's give the minimum height of 100. So we'll now have enough scrolling screen for us. So now we'll come over here, and then when we scroll to the top, you can see our text rotating very well, wonderfully. Okay, so now when you come over here and you edit this, you come down to the motion effect, and then for this X and Y anchor point, why it is necessary you set it to the center for both points is, if in a situation where you set the Y to the top, you're going to have something like this. When you scroll, you have this swinging effect, which is not what you want. Okay, and then when you come over here, you set the X anchor point to the left, you're going to have something like this swinging effect in another direction. Okay, so that is not what we want. We want a perfect rotation, and that is what we've done by setting it to the center and center. And as you can see, when you come over here, you scroll, you have this wonderful effect. Okay, so now that we're done with the second effect, now let's head over to the third effect, which is the infinite rotation. So to do so, we're going to use some line of CSS code in order to achieve that. Not to worry, I'm going to paste the code we're going to use here on the first comment of this video, so you can copy it and make use of it for free. So now, still on our text path editor, we just come over to the advanced settings, and then we'll come down to where we'll have the custom CSS. Mind you, this is only available for Elementor Pro users. So there is a link in the description of this video where you can get the Elementor Pro plugin. Okay, so now I'm just going to head over to my VS Code, and this is the code here. I'm going to copy it out, and then I'm going to come back here, and all I just need to do is to paste it here. You can see we now have this perfect rotation here. And you can also come over here to adjust the rotating speed here by changing the seconds here. You can reduce it, set it to 20 seconds. You can set it to 30 seconds, but I just like 25 seconds because it kind of looks great. It rotates smoothly. Okay, so now we've done that. Now, remember, we already added our scrolling rotation effect. Now, since we didn't turn off that rotation effect, the effect also can still take place here with our CSS code, giving it more finesse and more, style into our design. So now when we scroll, you can see it pauses and then it speeds up in whatever direction we are scrolling. It speeds up and when we stop, it continues scrolling up. That is also a wonderful effect you can make use of. Okay, so we've come to the end of this tutorial. If you've learned something new from this tutorial, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new in our channel, remember to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified first when I drop a new video. But until then, see you on our next video. Bye-bye.